Hi guys, welcome to TechBased. In this video, we're going to talk about the biggest Windows 11 24H2 update in 2025, which was released by Microsoft on the release preview channel a few days ago. And this update will also be part of the main release in about 1 or 2 weeks time. So I think that is going to be really nice because this build and this update has a lot of new features, and I think this is the biggest that we've had so far in 2025 and maybe the biggest that we'll ever have for 24H2. The build that we're talking about today is the build 26100.3613. And in this video, as always, we're going to cover everything that there is to it, new improvements, new apps, new fixes, and so on that you can get if you install this build on your system. So if you enjoy videos like these, please don't forget to leave a like below and also subscribe to the TechBased channel with the notification bell activated so that you won't miss any future uploads like this one. So let's begin with the video. Before starting the video, I want to introduce you to private internet access. Using the internet without private internet access is like leaving your phone unsupervised in public places. All it takes is one quick thief to grab it. A virtual private network, or VPN for shorts, hides your IP address and safeguards your internet connection through an encrypted tunnel. Private internet access is the world's most transparent VPN provider with over 30 million downloads, and their no-logs policy has been proven multiple times in court. Streaming services such as Netflix have different library options based on where you are located. Using private internet access, you'll be able to watch those shows or movies that are not available in your current location. With private internet access, you can also unblock restricted content such as news websites for Canadians, which have been blocked in the past month. And you can use one private internet access subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices at the same time. Make sure to check out private internet access in the links from the description below for a great deal, 83% discount and 4 months free. First of all, Microsoft is announcing some improvements for AMD and Intel powered Copilot Plus PCs. Of course, I'm not going to go in depth with this because I don't have a Copilot Plus PC and I don't plan on having one, and I think most of you don't have one, but this is related to live captions, and Microsoft is enhancing the communication on these devices with live captions and real-time translation, which is actually a pretty useful feature for a lot of people. This change brings the ability in live captions to translate more than 44 languages into English, including speakers in real-time video calls, recordings, and also streamed content. And also, the real-time translation is being added to a lot of languages such as Chinese, Arabic, Bulgarian, Czech, Danish, German, and so on. Another change that we have related to the Settings app, Microsoft will change the Settings homepage for commercial customers or commercial devices managed by an IT administrator, and they will basically show other cards or different cards here with other information that is relevant to enterprise managed PCs like recommended settings and Bluetooth devices. Also inside System, and then if you scroll to About, Microsoft is going to add these new top cards, which will provide an easy way to view your PC keys specifications such as the processor, RAM, storage, and GPU. And I think this is pretty nice because this way you can easily see what components a computer has. Before this, of course, you had to look here in the About section, or you had to go to Task Manager and check inside the Performance section what GPU you have. Well, now you're going to have all the information you need right here at a glance: the storage, the graphics card, the installed RAM, and also the processor. Of course, it would be nice if they would show a bit more in-depth information, for example, about the graphics card, because here it states multiple GPUs installed, and that is just because I have a dedicated GPU and the integrated GPU that is in the processor. So I think it would be nice if it shows you the dedicated GPU name and the specifications, if that would be possible. Also, there's a small fix for Japanese users. In the account section, the name displaying at the top of settings would have showed the first name and last name instead of the last name and first name, and that is quickly fixed by Microsoft. We also have some new improvements. For example, Microsoft is adding a new Gamepad keyboard layout for the touch keyboard in Windows 11. So the touch keyboard is basically something that you can enable from the taskbar settings. You can right click on the taskbar, go to taskbar settings, and then on system tray icons, you're going to have here the touch keyboard. You can select to always show it or when no keyboard attached. I set it to always and it shows as an icon here. You can open it, and if you go into the settings section and then keyboard layout, you're also going to notice that we have this new Gamepad layout that will allow you to use your Xbox controller to navigate and type, and this will include button accelerators, for example, the X button for backspace, the Y button for spacebar, and additionally, the keyboard keys have been vertically aligned for better controller navigation patterns. I think that is pretty nice. In this update, we'll also have some other additions to the system tray in the taskbar. For example, if you right click on the taskbar, you will most likely also notice this new section, Emoji and More. Show the Emoji and More panel icon, select Windows logo key plus period to open the panel anytime, and you can also select always while typing and never. And this new icon will appear in the system tray. You can click on it to open the widget section. As you can see, it will most likely open near text boxes preferences to be easier to use and see. And for example, if I'm going to set it to while typing, it's going to disappear from the system tray. And if I were to open the notepad, we're going to notice that even when I'm typing, it will appear in the system tray. If I use the Windows plus period combination, it appears here, and I can easily add an emoji inside my text field or wherever I'm typing inside Windows. Related to input, we also have two different fixes. Microsoft improved ctf-mon.exe reliability by addressing a system restart which could impact the ability to type, and also ctf-mon.exe may restart when copying data from certain apps. This was also fixed. Related to voice access, Microsoft is adding natural language commanding for Copilot Plus PCs, which allows you to speak commands naturally using filler words and synonyms rather than rigid and predefined commands. And they're also introducing Chinese support for voice access. This update also changes the way Task Manager calculates CPU utilization for the processes, performance, and users pages. Task Manager will now use the standard metrics to display CPU workload consistently across all pages and align with industry standards and third-party tools. For backward compatibility, a new optional column called CPU utility will be available in the details pane if you want to add it. There are also some changes related to widgets. For example, Microsoft is introducing the ability for web developers to easily utilize their existing web content to build dynamic and interactive widgets, were following the official Microsoft blog post. And also Microsoft is adding certain daily content widgets that you may see if you are in the European Economic Area. So not all users will see those widgets that you can add inside your widgets board. Microsoft is also bringing the support for lock screen widgets to devices in the European Economic Area. So with this, you can add, remove, and rearrange lock screen widgets such as weather, watch list, sports, traffic, and more. Any widget that supports the small sizing option can be added here. And of course, to customize this, you can go to settings, personalization, and lock screen. Another new feature that is rolling out and starting with this build is the ability to see phone information directly in the start menu. So if you have the phone link app set up with your phone connected, you may see this new sidebar inside the start menu with information about your phone. And of course, this sidebar can be turned on or off if you right click on the start menu and then scroll a bit down where it says show mobile devices and start. Calls, texts, and other notifications are shown in the start menu. Then you can turn this on or off, or you have a quick link to open phone link. There are certain changes to this because this is a pretty old feature that Microsoft has started rolling out to insiders from last year. And first of all, Microsoft is adding the ability to quickly set up the connection to your phone directly from this sidebar once it appears. And of course, you have access to your phone screen if you want, messages, calls, photos, and recent. If you go and click on these three dots, you have the option to open phone link, customize recent activity, and start settings. For example, if we click on customize recent activity, we can select to show recent photos in start menu, show recent messages, and also show recent calls if we want. We can also see the devices that we have connected and so on, and we can customize certain settings related to our phone. So you can see here, we can show notifications, messages, calls, apps, photos, and so on. Another very useful feature is that you have the ability to send files to your phone. Just click on send files and this window will appear. You can just select files if you click on select files, or just drag and drop a file and it will be quickly sent to your phone. So for example, let me quickly send a file here so I can show you how easily it is. Just drag and drop it, establishing connection. The file is successfully sent. I think you also heard my phone vibrating because I received the notification that I received the file that I sent. I think this is a very quick and easy way to send files over to your phone using this quick settings from the start menu that are rolling out slowly starting with this build. In this build, Microsoft is also rolling out certain changes to Windows search or improvements. Basically, for the European Economic Area, Microsoft will start to differentiate search results that are from your system or are from the web. And you're going to see two pills or tabs that will categorize these search results. You can just select to have search results in Windows or web search results. Also, now the File Explorer dialogs will respect the scaling or the DPI that you set inside text input in settings. And that is pretty nice. If you go into settings and then type in here text input or text size, if you change the size, all the dialogs from the File Explorer will respect this. For example, the copy dialog and all the other dialogs will respect the text size that you provide here, and I think that is pretty nice. Now let's talk about new apps that we can get in this build, app updates or completely new apps as you're going to notice. And to get all these new apps, of course, if you updated to this build, make sure to open up the Microsoft Store, just search for the Microsoft Store and then go into the download section and then click on check for updates to be sure that you have all the app updates available. And you're going to see that we have some new interesting improvements for a lot of apps. First of all, you may notice that we now have a Copilot app pinned to the taskbar, and good news, this is now a native Windows app. It will no longer be a web-based app. It is a native app, a standalone app app that will run directly from your Windows operating system. Of course, if you don't like it, you can always go and right click on it and unpin it from the taskbar. When you open the app for the first time, you may notice that the app will show you certain things that you can customize. As you can see, hi, I'm Copilot, your AI companion. Set up Copilot. You can select to share optional diagnostic data to help improve Microsoft products, auto start and login, and also open Copilot using Alt plus spacebar shortcut, which is also something pretty interesting that we're going to cover in just a bit. Click on continue. As you can see, we now have access to Copilot and we can type certain things. For example, hi, how are you? And as you can see, it is pretty fast in responses. You can have, of course, a conversation with AI. If you like, you also have this option to use the quick view for the Copilot app, and this will basically make the app smaller with only the important contents. You also have the plus button with more options. For example, you can take a screenshot, you can upload or start a new chat. And what's interesting in this new app is that you also have the ability to talk to Copilot. I can click on this, can let it have access to
Hey again, Praluca. What's on your mind today?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great, Praluca. How about you?
You also have the options to change voices if you want, Wave, Groove, Canyon, Meadow. And as I said, we also have that voice access feature that you can use. If you press Alt plus space on your keyboard, you can select to keep using this shortcut to open this window. You can click on keep and it will automatically open Copilot and you can start talking to it if you want. In my opinion, this is a great addition for people interested in AI. This is also available for non-Copilot Plus PCs and you can quickly have access to AI. I'm pretty sure that you can also upload certain files, you can take notes from certain documents and so on. So I think it could be pretty useful for a lot of people. And as I said, of course, it is a native app. We're going to notice that if we go to Task Manager and look inside its processes, we don't see any web view or anything like that. It is a standalone app that is running directly and only from Windows. We also have Notepad improvements with the addition of this new button, the Copilot button. You can click on it. You have certain options to rewrite, summarize, make shorter, make longer, change tone and change format. For example, I'm going to type in here, hello, this is Emmanuel from TechBased, and let's see if we have access to it. We can click on summarize. We can summarize the text with Copilot. Unfortunately, I don't have any credits left. If you're using this for the first time, you may have a few credits that you can use to summarize or play around with AI inside your text, but of course you may need a subscription after that. And also we have a new option. If you go to file and then we have recent, which will show you the recent files that you edited with Notepad. You can clear the list if you don't want it there, and it's going to show no recent files after you've done that. Related to the Photos app, Microsoft is also adding the OCR detection feature here. So if you have a photo that has some text, you can click on this button, scan text. It's going to scan, as you can see, and detect all the text that is available inside the photo. I think this is a pretty useful feature. For now, I think it only works with English, but additional languages may be added in the near future. We also have some new features for the Snipping tool app. If I'm going to make a screenshot, I'm going to take it here, open the Snipping tool app. We're going to notice that we also have this new animation that shows us this new feature. And that is basically the ability to draw certain shapes, rectangles, arrows, circles, and so on by freely drawing it on the board and then holding our mouse clicked. So for example, let's draw a rectangle. As you can see, it is far from being perfect, but if I hold my mouse, it's going to automatically detect it and create it for me. You can use this to rotate it if you want. You can resize it and everything is pretty useful. You can also do that with circles, as you can see, really easily. You can also create arrows. It's going to detect my arrow, as easy as that. And of course, you can detect other shapes as well, for example, this one. So I think this is a pretty nice new feature for people who are using Snipping tools to take screenshots. I'm using it a lot because it's pretty intuitive and very easy to use. You also have the options to quickly save the screenshot, to edit it in Paint if you want. So I think the Snipping tool app is shaping up to be a very, very nice and reliable app. Also related to the snipping tools, if we go and open it and then we start a new recording, select the spot, start the recording and do a quick recording here and then stop it, we're going to notice that we have a new option here related to recordings, which is called video trim. You can click on it and you can trim your video. You can trim parts of it really easily. You can change its volume or mute it if you want. And then once you're happy with it, you can click on apply and the changes will be applied. And then you can save it and go to a location and save it if you want, as easy as that. There are also improvements for the Microsoft Store in this latest update. First of all, Microsoft has an updated homepage with certain categories that will make a spotlight in the Microsoft Store homepage. And also another addition is related to the download section, where Microsoft will differentiate between apps that are from the Microsoft Store and apps that are from a third-party company. So for example, if you have apps like OBS or Chrome, you'll be able to update them directly from the Microsoft Store. But if it's an app managed by the Microsoft Store, you're going to see this label managed by the Microsoft Store, seamless downloads and updates by by the store for optimal performance, with also version notes from it, as you saw, that we had available there, and other information about the app that is, of course, installed through the Microsoft Store. We also have two features that are now deprecating and being removed by Microsoft. First of all, one of them is suggested actions, which appeared when you copied a phone number or a future date. This is now deprecated and removed, unfortunately. And Microsoft is also removing the location history feature, an API used by Cortana to access 24 hours of device history when location was enabled. With the removal of the location history feature, location data will no longer be saved locally, and the corresponding settings are also removed from settings, privacy and security, and then the location page. Now these are pretty much all the new features. Now we're going to talk about the new fixes that you can see in this new update. First of all, related to the File Explorer, Microsoft fixed the See More menu in the File Explorer command bar that would have opened in the wrong direction in some cases. Related to Remote Desktop sometimes didn't use UDP, it only used TCP. This was also fixed. An issue was also fixed where screen may unexpectedly change orientation coming out of sleep on 2-in-1 devices. Microsoft also fixed the MSI Close Handle API experiences, which prolonged execution time when handling MSI files containing a large number of files. Related to the boot menu, if an update fails and rolls back, it would have resulted in a non-functional boot menu entry. This fix stops devices from newly encountering this. Extra boot entries can be managed in the boot section of System Configuration, msconfig, if you encountered this issue already. Related to authentication, they fixed Kerberos authentication fails in certain scenarios, also Fido cached credential logon fails, and also opening certain apps after a password changed could unexpectedly lead to lockout if account blockout policy was enabled. This was also fixed. A blue screen of death was also fixed. PDC watchdog timeout from previous builds. Also, now the description of virtual NIC is displaying correctly in network connections, showing the correct characters. Also inside system and settings display, and then color management, it might not display the expected color profile list for the selected monitor. This is also fixed. And also certain color profiles may not be applied after resuming from sleep. Additionally, related to the display kernel, this update addresses an issue affecting high HDR content playback on Dolby Vision capable displays, where users may see regular HDI instead of Dolby Vision, missing specific content indicators. Related to PowerShell, this update resolves an issue where critical PowerShell modules required for device configuration were not executed under Windows Defender application control policies. Related to OOB, Microsoft addresses an issue that it prevents the ESP from running every time a user logs into the device, even when configured by policy. This update also addresses an issue affecting credential roaming results and certificates and keys not being roamed into Active Directory and not being made available users' machines. This update also resolves an issue for users with profiles redirected to a network virtual hard disk, where a specific failure could lead to a system crash. They also fix an issue where certain third-party apps could cause a settings crash from the graphics settings page. And this is pretty much all there is to it in this latest update for Windows 11 24H2. I think this is quite a big update. I've done a video yesterday in which I told you that this update can have a few issues. Also, I advise you to watch that video if you want, if you plan to update to this build, so that you know if you encounter any issues how to solve them related to this build. Most likely these issues that we encountered should no longer be a case for when this update will be available in the main release. Of course, if you're interested in getting all these features, make sure you go into the settings app, go to Windows Update, make sure you are enrolled in the Windows Insider program in the release preview channel. Make sure you get the latest updates as soon as they're available, and also of course check for updates. And the features will slowly roll out to you. Additionally, if you want to enable all the features manually, you may need to use Vive tool and a few commands. If you're interested in me doing a video about that, if you want to have all the new features right now, not to wait until they roll out to you, let me know below in the comments. So this was the video for today. I hope you liked it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like below and also subscribe to the TechBase channel with the notification bell activated so that you won't miss any future uploads like this one. This is Emmanuel from TechBase. Until next time, have a nice day.